Two of the top teams in the Jackie Robinson North Conference face off. It's the Lane Tech champions and the Lincoln Park Lions on a cloudy Wednesday afternoon in Roscoe Village, Chicago. Lane Tech baseball is on the air. Thanks so much for joining us. My name's Alex Burstein alongside Nathan Nowak here inside the press booth at Kerrywood Field. Lane Tech coming off a rough loss last night, but they'll look to rebound here tonight against Lincoln Park. Should be a fun game here, Nathan.
Yeah, it should. They walked a lot of batters last time. They kind of imploded late in the game. They had the lead 5-3, and after that, they allowed 3 straight walks and 6 unearned runs. Really cost them the game late in the game.
Yeah, tough loss last night to Kenwood, but this is a Lincoln Park team that Lane Tech has had a lot of success against. 13 straight wins for the champions against the Lions, and we'll see if Lane Tech can make it 14 straight. Here tonight, as we take you back down to the field, it will be the right-handed junior Aman Khan making his 4th appearance of the year as he strolls to the mound right now. Around him in the infield tonight, it'll be the exact same lineup for the champions. In catching for Khan will be Zach Joshua, Ethan Borgren at first base, Teo Greco at second, Louis Dershin at third. Adam Kunzvitsky takes over at the shortstop position. Henry Murray in left field, Josh Katz in center field, and Carson Berg in right field. Quickly down the batting order for the Lincoln Park Lions, Liam Fitzgerald will hit first, Elias Alexander hitting second, Gavin McPeak in the 3 spot, Ike Derishin, the brother of Lane Tech's Louis Derishin, hitting cleanup, Brett Lindsay in the 5 spot, Harrison Rogers in the 6 spot, and it will be Aiden Choslowski, Andrew Phelps, and Noe Luvano in the 7, 8, and 9 spots as Khan takes a couple more warm-up pitches, and then we'll be good to go here from Kerrywood Field for some conference action on this Wednesday afternoon. Should be a fun one between these two squads. The scores we mentioned, Lane Tech has had a lot of recent success against this team, but they've been close the last couple of years, a couple of close games in the last few meetings between these squads, and we'll see if it's a similar story here tonight. As stepping to the batter's box is going to be Liam Fitzgerald, a lefty, to lead us off here on this Wednesday. Lane Tech looking to rebound from last night's 9-5 loss to Kenwood. Meanwhile, Lincoln Park, they're on a winning streak, beat Oak Forest 9-8 on Saturday. As first pitch, fastball misses outside, and we're underway here from Kerrywood Field, a 1-0 count to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald, one of a number of two-way players on this Lincoln Park squad, as this one's guide towards left field should be playable here for Henry Murray, who makes a nice grab for out number 1. So 1 up, 1 down here quickly for the champions. They gave up a run in the first inning last night to Kenwood, so if they can get 3 early outs here against the Lions, that would be a better start here for the champions than what we saw last night, as we see Elias Alexander, tonight's shortstop for the Lions, come to the plate. As first pitch misses high, and we'll move to a 1-0 count. So 2 straight first pitch balls here from Khan, but he was able to get out of the first batter. We'll see if he can do it again. Second pitch misses high as well. We talked about the number of two-way players. The leadoff guy, Liam Fitzgerald, a two-way guy. Elias Alexander playing tonight as shortstop, but did pitch in the last game, actually. Went 0.2 innings against Oak Forest. As this one to Derishin at third. Gets it after a couple of hops, throws across the diamond in time to Borgren over there at first base. And that will be a 5-3 put out for out number 2. So champions making quick work here of the Lions in the top of inning number 1. And it will be Gavin McPeak, the Dominican University commit, looking to keep this inning going for the Lions. One of the more skilled players on this squad, another lefty. 2 of the first 3 batters for the Lions as a lefty, are lefties, as curveball misses outside. Looking at Lane Tech's batting order tonight, they're just going to have 1 lefty batting, at least through the initial 9, and that will be the switch-hitting Henry Murray. So this one misses outside. Khan struggling a little bit early on finding that strike zone, but he's been bailed out by a couple of swings by this Lincoln Park Lions team. That will be one of them. Fastball to the outside, the plate swung on and missed, and we'll move to a 2-1 count. McPeak will likely be pitching next year. He's a left-handed pitcher a lot of the time for this Lions squad, committed as a pitcher, but tonight we'll see him play in the right field spot as the 2-2 misses outside. That will be a full count here. Kahn 1 strike away from getting out of this first inning quickly. We'll see if he can do it. 3-2. Hit towards first. Borgren takes a couple steps over, but that one will travel foul. And we'll do the 3-2 again. Peak had a really strong off season with the Windy City Baseball Club, but he will get swing and a miss, strike 3. 1-2-3 inning for the Lions in top of the first. We'll see what Lane Tech can do offensively. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel.
So a good friend of mine, Wayne, Nate and Ryan, we went to Ignatius. Okay. All good, Alex? I don't need to do nothing? Yeah. Thank you, brother. I'm a director at a country club. Okay. And so he was at Silent Cycle, and he went to Syracuse, and he's a TV guy. Oh, really? Look him up, Nate and Ryan. Okay, we'll do. I'm telling you, congrats. Thank you.
We head to the bottom of inning number 1. Lane Tech and Lincoln Park all knotted up at 0 here at Kerrywood Field as we take you through the lineup defensively here for the champions. For the Lions. We mentioned it'll be Aiden Choslowski on the mound, the top pitcher for this Lincoln Park Lions squad. Rogers will be catching for him, Darishan at first, Luvano at second, Fitzgerald at third, Alexander at shortstop, Phelps in left field, Lindsay in center field, and McPeak in right field. As looks like there's going to be a quick glove switch here for Choslowski, who quickly goes to the dugout and digs out another glove. Taking through the batting order tonight for the champions, exactly what we saw last night. Teo Greco leads off, Josh Katz in the 2 spot, Louis Darishan hitting 3rd, Henry Murray, the sophomore, in the cleanup spot, Zach Joshua hitting in the 5 role, Ethan Borgren in the 6 spot, Tyler Trapp in the 7 spot, Carson Berg in the 8 spot, and Adam Kunzvitsky in the 9 spot. Tyler Trapp tonight, the 7 hitter, is the designated hitter for this, hitting for Aman Khan on the mound here tonight. It was a great top of the first for the champions. Fly out to left field, a ground out to third base, and a strikeout by Aman Khan in the first 3 batters faced here for the right-handed junior, and we'll see if Lane Tech can take that momentum here offensively into the bottom of the first. Lane Tech riding a 1-game conference win streak, split their series last week against the Von Steuben Panthers. They were supposed to play 2 days ago against Lincoln Park. However, some rain got that game moved to Thursday. So this ends up being game 1 of the home and home series. And then the champions will travel tomorrow afternoon, short way over to the Lincoln Park neighborhood to face off against the Lions in game 2. Then Lane Tech starts off their home and home with Whitney Young on the road on Friday before finishing off their week against St. Viator in what should be a fun one on Saturday morning, as Choslowski gets a couple more pitches here, and then we'll be good to go in the bottom of the first. It's been a very, very impressive year so far for Choslowski. He's actually pitching in his 2nd straight game. We saw him pitch on Saturday, came in with the bases loaded, I believe, in the bottom of the 7th inning against Oak Forest and got the out, so he ended up getting the save in that one. He's been the most consistent pitcher this year for the Lions, and we'll see what he can do here tonight against a strong Lane Tech offensive lineup. As first pitch curveball misses outside, and we will move to a 1-0 count on Teo Greco. Greco 1 for 2 last night, scored one of Lane Tech's 5 runs, also had an RBI off a sac fly, and drew a walk against the Kenwood Academy Broncos. Moved his average up a little bit, still leads the team hitting at .435 on the year as the 2-0 gets in there for a strike, and we'll move to a 2-1 count. Greco team leader in average, on-base percentage, runs, and hits entering today. The sophomore has done a little bit of everything so far for the champions this this year. It's been a really good addition to the squad. Coach Freeman decided to take a couple of sophomores, and they've been making a great impact as this one hit towards left field, but making the quick grab is Phelps, and that will be a quick out number 2. So both the teams start off their evenings with a fly out to left field, and we'll see if the pattern continues. It was a grounder to a third for the second out for the Lions. Josh Katz will look to avoid that as he comes to the plate for the first time tonight, the center fielder for the champions. He's pretty much worked himself into an everyday center fielder role when he's not pitching. Saw him play as a DH. Obviously, he has some infield experience, but he's worked his way into that 8 spot for pretty much every game when he's not on the mound now, as Czeslowski fires the 1-0 outside, and we'll move it to a 2-0 count. Louis Darashin waits on deck for the champions. He's moved up from the 4 spot to the 3 spot these last couple of weeks as the 2-0 finds its way in there. We'll move to a 2-1 count. Pitchers on both sides had a hard time with the strike zone here at Kerrywood Field last night. We'll see how that changes. I can't tell if it's the same umpire staff or not. Check swing misses outside. And Greco moves 1 ball away from a walk for the first base runner of the day. It's been 4 up, 4 down so far today between the two squads. As gonna switch out the ball there, and we'll get ready for the 3-1. Czeslowski, the team leader in ERA, 1.02 entering today. The pitch. This one hit by Katz down the left field line, and we'll move it to a full count. Czeslowski, no stranger to this Kerrywood field. He pitched against Payton here earlier this season, and then we also saw last year against Lane Tech in the Lane Tech home game. He was a starter, so often gets called up for this big game against the champions. Last year, fell in that one as a 3-1 misses outside, and Katz will draw the walk for the first base runner of the day, and we'll see if Louis Darashin can move him along the base pass. Katz has been not at all afraid to steal bags this year, one of the team's leaders in stolen bases. We'll see if he can do that here tonight. 5 stolen bases on the year. He'd love to make it 6 or 7 here on the base paths, as Darashin awaits the 0-0 from Czeslowski. 4:40 local time. Got started right on time at 4:30. First pitch in the dirt, but Katz will stay put there at first base. Darashin, we mentioned, facing off against his brother tonight. First time in the two's baseball careers that they are on opposite teams. Ike Darashin, the sophomore first baseman for the Lions. Louis Darashin, the senior third baseman for the champions. As 2 straight balls here from Czeslowski. He's really been reliant on that fastball, but has not been finding the strike zone early on. As Katz takes the lead at first, being checked there by Ike Darashin. And now we'll see a pickoff attempt. Nice pickoff move there from Czeslowski, but Katz a little too quick back to the bag. Darashin had a rough night at it last night. 0 for 4, a strikeout and a fielder's choice for him. Also had air in the field. Did have one really well hit ball, and there will be another. This one laced into left field, and Katz is going to try to go to third. He did not hold up at all there, and some aggressive base running here for the champions. Has runners on the corners with one away here in the bottom of the first inning. I didn't even look at Freeman. I'm not sure what the sign was, but Katz, who already had a nice lead over there at first base, decides to speed around. And just like that, runners at first and third for Lane Tech in the bottom of the first. They scored 2 in the first inning yesterday against Kenwood and would love to get another early start at it here. And Henry Murray coming to the plate. 9 RBIs on the season, can reach double digits here with a knock to the outfield. He's had a knack these last couple of games, 4 RBIs. Had 3 of them in the win against Von Steuben last Friday, as this one misses outside. We'll move to a 1-0 count. And looks like we're going to have a quick mound visit here quickly from the manager, Van Dyke, for the Lions. As we mentioned, this is the top arm that the Lions have, and some early struggles finding the strike zone for Aiden Jovslowski. We'll see if he can settle down, though, with runners on the corners, trying to protect the current tie game in the bottom of the first here from Kerrywood Field. Van Dyke on the mound. They're going to go straight with their manager for the first mound visit of the day. Van Dyke in his 3rd season as head coach of this Lions squad, a 30-42 record, but he has stayed above 500 in conference play, 18-16 against Jackie Robinson North opponents, and hoping to keep at that. And Jovslowski, a left-hander, means Murray's going to pitch from the righty's batter's box here. And that means Lane Tech's going to have no lefty at-bats, which is actually helpful against a lefty pitcher, as first pitch moves outside, and we'll go to a 1-0 count.
Both pitchers not throwing a lot of strikes to start the game.
Yeah, even in the top of the first inning, we saw Khan have a lot of pitches miss the zone, but luckily he got bailed out by some hits to Lane Tech defenders as Murray slices this one foul, and we'll move to a 2-1 count. Saw 1 hit last night out of Murray. It's not as strong as some of his recent games, but we have to check. He must be on at least a 3 or 4 game hit streak. Actually, 2 hits, my apologies. 2 for 4 for Murray last night. As this one hit towards right field, and chasing after it is McPeak, but it will head foul. 2 strong foul balls there from the switch hitting sophomore. If he can straighten one of those out, Lane Tech surely to get on the board early here at home. Wind slightly blowing out to right field. Last night it was almost a dead wind night. The flag was basically not moving at all night. There was no carry on the ball. That might change a little bit here on this Wednesday, as Murray with a bouncer to short will be a tough play to throw. The first is in time, but an RBI infield ground out there for Murray. Safely coming home is Katz. That was Luvano to Derishin for the putouts. And the champions take an early 1-0 lead here, and they're still in business. Runner at second base, 2 away now in the bottom of the first. And it's exactly what Lane Tech wants to see, an early lead here. See if they can push it with Zach Joshua coming to the plate, the catcher tonight for the champions. Jovslowski looks back towards second. First pitch, curveball, misses a little bit inside. There was no one checking Derishin there. Now the second baseman, Luvano, will come over a little bit, but they're allowing a pretty big lead there for Lane Tech's third baseman there up the base path. As Joshua readies for the 1-0 pitch. This one, same exact pitch. This time they'll call it for a strike, and we'll even it out at a 1-1 count. Joshua didn't record a hit last night. We'll look to get back to that here. He's 3rd on the team in doubles this season. Love an extra base hit here. The 1-1 down the third base line will be caught by Fitzgerald across the diamond in time for out number 3, but the champions strike first off of a walk by Katz. He scores after a ground out by Henry Murray brings him home. It's the champions 1, the Lions 0 as we head to the second. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. We head to the top of the second here at Kerrywood Field, a 1-0 lead for the champions as they strike first in the bottom of inning number 1. It was an excellent first inning pitching for Lane Saxamon Khan. We'll see if he can keep that going here into inning number 2 as he faces off against the 4, 5, and 6 hitters. First pitch outside for a ball. We'll move to a 1-0 pitch to Ike Darishin. Not sure if we've seen a first pitch strike here out of Khan, as this one ring up for a strike, but he was able to get 3 straight outs in his first inning of work. A fly out to left field, a ground out to third base, and a strikeout, as this one's going to be fouled off to the right-hand side, and we will move to a 1-2 count on the other Darishin. Ike Darishin for the Lions. Waiting on deck will be Brett Lindsay and Harrison Rogers in the hole for the Lincoln Park Lions, who come into tonight with a sub-500 record. They're 4-2 in conference play, as this one fouled away. 6-7 overall, though. And a win tonight would not only bring them atop the conference standings, at least for the moment, but it would also mean they get to 500 overall, which is obviously a good feeling to have as a team, as this one will take a couple bounces towards Kunzvitsky at short. And we'll bring it over the first in time, a 6-3 putout, and 4 retired to start the day off for Khan on the mound. Excellent pitching performance so far for the right-handed junior. Competed this off-season for Team Pakistan in the World Baseball Classic qualifiers. Played an inning in that one. Very cool experience for the junior, and has had a pretty good start to his high school career as this one misses away. Had a rough outing in Florida against Cardinal Gibbons, but if you go back to his last start here at Lane Tech against York, it was a couple Saturdays ago as this one fouled back. And we'll move to a 1-1 count on Brett Lindsay. It was a very, very impressive day for Khan. It did not get the win in that because the runs did not come until late for the champions, but 4 innings pitched, only gave up 1 hit in that one, 3 walks and 5 strikeouts for Khan. As this one misses outside, faced 17 batters in that one. Also faced off against Maine South here at home, a game Lane Tech lost 3-1, but it was another good outing. 4 innings pitched, 1 hit and 2 runs as this one swung on and missed. Second strikeout of the day for Khan, and now 5 up, 5 down to start off the day for him. And going back to that Maine South performance, 3 strikeouts, 5 Ks, and that one 4 against Cardinal Gibbons. So 14 strikeouts across just 11.1 innings pitched. He's found ways to get swings and misses here. As first pitch down low for a ball. And Harrison Rogers will move ahead in the count 1-0. The 6th hitter tonight catching for the Lions. Lincoln Park not going with a designated hitter for tonight's game, as their pitcher, Kozlowski, is a pretty good hitter. He waits on the on-deck circle currently, as the 1-0 is upstairs. We'll move it to a 2-0 count. Rogers, a junior, has been a really impressive fielder behind the plate, second on the team in fielding percentage, but has had some offense as well, coming off a 1-for-2 performance against Oak Forest on Saturday. Came home across home plate twice in that one for 2 runs. So he awaits the offering. Con will miss outside, and we'll go to a 3-1 count. Lincoln Park still looking for their first reach of the day here. It's been 5 straight batters retired, and that will do it as fastball outside misses, and that will be a 5-pitch walk here for Rogers in the top of the 2nd inning. See if that can convert some offense for the Lions. They are going to use a courtesy runner there for the catcher. We'll see if we can catch the number there of who that is on the field for the Lions. Can't quite get it right now, but we'll see if we can pick it up in the next minute or so. Looks like that is going to be number 6, Noah Nelkin, on the base pass as first pitch misses outside here to Kozlowski. Not the first lefty, actually the 3rd lefty that Con has had to face here today. It was a fly out by Fitzgerald, the leadoff lefty, and Gavin McPeak in the 3 spot was a strikeout. As Con works to the outside of the plate, first pitch misses, second one gets in there for a strike, and we'll move to a 1-1 count here on Con. Waiting on the on-deck circle, Andrew Phelps, hoping he gets a chance to bat this inning. There is 2 away, though, so have to be a reach for Kozlowski to keep this inning alive. Kozlowski, mainly a pitcher. That's where he stars most, but also plays a little bit in the outfield and can play at first base for this squad. As the 2-1 misses outside, and Kozlowski 1 pitch away from back-to-back walks here, issued by Con in the bottom of the 2nd after a very strong start. While being so productive offensively, he's also been one of the team leaders. Excuse me, that was a 2-1. This one misses outside, and now he'll move 1 ball away from a walk. But as we were saying, he's been very productive on the mound, a 1.02 ERA, but he's also 3rd on the team in on-base percentage, has some stolen bases, a little bit of everything for the senior as a 3-1 misses outside, and back-to-back 5-pitch walks here for the Lions in the bottom of the 2nd inning. And Zach Joshua will come to the mound and have a quick word with his pitcher here tonight. Joshua, the everyday catcher, works with a variety of pitchers. Last night we saw Caden Tokowitz take the mound, had an excellent start, and then out of the pen it was Lucino Sotelo and Ethan Borgren for the champions. As looks like they're going to keep Kozlowski on the base path, so it's him at first base, Nelkin still holding things down at 2nd. And at the plate will be the 8th hitter, the left fielder tonight, Andrew Phelps. Runners take their leads at 1st and 2nd base. Curveball misses down low, and we'll move to a 1-0 count. So strike zone continues to be a trouble for both of these pitchers early on. Walks really were what haunted Lane Tech last night. 3 walks to start off the top of the 7th inning, and then 6 runs came in to score for the Broncos as they took that non-conference matchup 9-5. Lane Tech really would love that game back, but they'll look to rebound here as Phelps digs this one out from near the dirt. Racing over is Greco, who makes the grab in front of the right fielder, Berg. And Lincoln Park will strand 2 here in the top of the 2nd. It's Lane Tech 1, Lincoln Park 0 still as we enter the bottom of the 2nd. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. We head to the bottom of the second here at Kerrywood Field. Champions still with a 1-0 lead over the Lincoln Park Lions here in the Jackie Robinson North Conference matchup. It'll be Ethan Borgren leading things off here tonight for the champions. Tyler Trapp in the 7 spot. He's due up second, and then Carson Berg, the 8-hitter, in the hole to start off here in the second. Borgren awaits the first pitch from Kozlowski. Gets some good contact to right center field. Drifting back is McPeak, and this is over his head. Will bounce all the way to the fence. Borgren safely in the second. They're going to hold him there. He slips but makes his way back to the bag. And the leadoff double off the first pitch of the inning to Ethan Borgren. And quite a start here for the champions offensively. That's going to be their second hit of the day. They only had 1 hit there in the first, but they were still able to get a run off of it. This is actually a better start than the champions had in the first inning. They only they had a fly out by Teo Greco to start off inning number 1. That will change here in the second, as it will be a leadoff hit by Ethan Borgren, and Tyler Trapp will look to advance him at home plate right now. The designated hitter for the champions fouls off the first pitch for a strike. So Lane Tech continues to get good contact off the pitches here by the lefty Kozlowski. Something that not a lot of teams can say. Had a start this year where he had 13 strikeouts in the complete game performance against Payton. As the 0-1, Trapp watches it go by for a strike. Recorded 1 hit, came around for a run last night against Kenwood. His 14th run of the season. The 0-2 hit sharply towards second. Should be playable for Luvano, but will advance the runner to third. So sacrifice hit there by Tyler Trapp. And Lane Tech 1 base away from a 2-run lead here in inning number 2. One of the things for the champions this season, they've gotten off to some early starts. They've had some games where they've closed the offense well, but sometimes you see a dip in the middle innings where they go 3-4 innings without any offensive production. Always a good sign where you see Lane Tech threatening in back-to-back innings, and that's what they're trying to do here, as a big swing and a miss on the first cut from Carson Berg, who's moved into the everyday right fielder's role the last couple of weeks for the champions. Good presence in the batter's box and in the field for Lane Tech, as Kozlowski fires the 0-1, misses outside, and will move it to a 1-1 count. Berg last night, 1 for 3 with a run and an RBI. Also reached on an error and had a pair of stolen bases against a Kenwood team that looked very strong last night. This one poked in the right field, and McPeak misjudges it. This is going to be at least a double. In safely to score is Borgren. Berg turns second as they pick up the ball, and that's going to be a stand-up triple for Carson Berg. McPeak out there in right field thought he could kind of block it on his knees with his body. Ended up bouncing, I think, over his shoulder. That made it all the way in to right field, and that's going to be a triple for Carson Berg. I'm not sure if that's going to go as an error or not. For now, we're not going to say it is. That will just be a triple for Carson Berg, and the champions have a 2-0 lead here in inning number 2. And threatening to do more as Adam Kunzvitsky comes to the plate. First pitch misses outside. And we'll move it to a 1-0 count.
Both hits for Lane have been pretty early on in the count so far this inning.
Saw the double from Borgren, a triple from Berg, as this one gets away from the glove of Rogers. Kozlowski continuing to just have some control issues tonight against this Lincoln Park squad. Greco waits patiently in the on-deck circle. Pitch. Kunzvitsky watches this one go low, and this will now be a 3-0 count on the shortstop. And if Kunzvitsky can reach, they'll be 1 away with runners on the corners and the top of the lineup coming up for the champions, and that is exactly what will happen. 4 straight balls thrown by Adam Kozlowski here after giving up the triple to Carson Berg. And Lane Tech's offense off to a flying start here tonight, As Teo Greco comes up to bat. After him, it'll be Josh Katz. Louis Diershin waits in the hole. So first go through of the lineup. Lane Tech has 5 of their 9 starters reach. Greco was not one of them. He flew out to left field his first time up. Would love to make up for that here as an arching curveball gets in there for a 1-0 strike. Greco has recorded hits in at least 4 straight games here, dating back to last Wednesday against Vaughn. Might be longer than that. Don't have the stats from the game before then, but has recorded hits in both games of the Vaughn series, the Mundelein game, and the Kenwood game. Kozlowski looks towards first, fires the 1-0. That one high on the fastball and will even it out at a 1-1 count. We saw a couple of Lane Tech strikeouts last night on those high pitches. They'll love if they can control those and avoid some of the high swings here tonight. As runners take their leads on the corners. The pitch. This one in the dirt. Excellent job so far by Rogers. We saw that one get away from him, but the catcher tonight, the junior for the Lions, has done a good job of keeping Lane Tech from grabbing any extra bags here so far. Kunvitsky takes his lead at first base, a 2-1 count on Greco, the leadoff man for the champions. This one hit towards short double play potential. They'll scoop to second. The throw to first is not in time. And a fielder's choice brings home another run. Lane Tech takes a 3-0 lead now. Wasn't a super hard hit ball there by Greco, who reaches via the fielder's choice. And Alexander got it to Luvano, but the throw to first was just a little too slow. That was Kunvitsky out at second, and Carson Berg coming in safely to score, and 2 away as the champions take a 3-0 lead here in the bottom of the second. Offense looking very good here early on for the champions, as first pitch outside gets in there for a strike. So that's the second straight batter we've seen Kozlowski hit the strike zone, the first pitch he's thrown. We'll see if he can keep that momentum going. As runner takes the lead at first base, the pitch misses outside, and we'll go to a 1-1. Despite the control issues, we've only seen 1 walk given up so far by Kozlowski. 2 walks given up, but the bats have really wakened up the last inning or so for Lane Tech, as they'll try a pickoff attempt there to Greco. Will not get there in time. Greco, the lone Lane Tech runner on the base paths right now. Over there at first, Louis Diershin waits in the on-deck circle, and they're going to try back-to-back pickoff attempts. Neither of them get there quite in time, and we'll do it again. Greco takes a slightly larger lead over there at first now, as the pitch thrown and high for a ball. 2-1 now, the count on Greco. Slugging .652 on the year, second on the team. He's had a good mix of types of hits he's been having, and that will be at least a single right there. Katz gets one down into left field. My apologies, folks. I was looking at the wrong screen on my computer, page on my computer, but that's going to be a single for Josh Katz. And 2 on with 2 away for the champions. Greco at second base, Katz at first base, and Louis Diershin coming to the plate. First time up, singled, got to second base, but was stranded there. And would love to change that around. Lane Tech already with 2 in this inning. We'll see if they can expand it. First pitch, curveball gets in there for a strike. So most of the time, it's kind of been alternating, actually. Two batters ago, we saw a curveball first pitch into the strike zone for Lane Tech. Last at-bat was a fastball for a strike to start off the at-bat, as runner takes towards third, and there's not going to be a throw down. So it's a ball thrown to Diershin and 2 stolen bags. Greco to third, Katz to second. We talked about those 2 of the leaders in stolen bags this year for the champions, and they'll each add 1 to their totals. That's a team leading 6 stolen base this year for Josh Katz. As Diershin awaits the pitch, and It called for a strike, so the inside curveball seems to be working a little bit more for Lincoln Park. These last couple of batters faced for the lefty senior Kozlowski. See if he can do it again. This one misses outside. Diving save there from Rogers to keep Greco over there at third. Lane Tech looking to punch in some more insurance. They lead 3-0 here in the bottom of the second. 2 away. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call here from Kerrywood Field. As Darashin softly hits this one. Winds 13 miles per hour out to right field. Haven't seen any big effects on the ball yet, but definitely a more windy night than what we saw last night for the champions against Kenwood. We did, between innings, turn the lights on here at Kerrywood Field, so those are starting to have an effect. Field was getting a little dark. It's been overcast all day in Chicago. As Darashin swings at the pitch, and that will be strike number 3. So Kozlowski gets out of it, a champion strand 2, but not before scoring 2. Borgren and Berg come home to score, and it's a champions 3, the Lincoln Park Lions 0 as we head to the third. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. We head to the third. Lane Tech with a 3-0 lead over the Lincoln Park Lions after a 2-run inning number 2, where Carson Berg and Ethan Borgren both came home to score. Lane Tech has been great defensively. No hits given up yet by Aman Khan on the mound. We did see a couple of walks issued by him in the second, as first pitch called for a ball here. It's the 9-hitter Noe Luvano. And that will be back-to-back balls as curveball misses outside. We'll go to a 2-0 count. But overall here for Khan early on, it's been a solid outing for the right-hander. And we'll see if he can keep that going. One of the keys this season for the champions has been the starters going for long outings. We saw a nice outing last night. 5 innings by Caden Tokwitz as a 3-0 inside for a strike. We'll move it to a 3-1 count. Some nice changeup action there from Khan. And back-to-back strikes now. So a 3-0 count moves to a 3-2 count. And after it looked like might be an easy pass to first base by Luvano, instead it will still be a pass to first base. Gets a little more pressure filled there on the 3-2, but that will be the third walk dish out here today by Khan. And back to the top of the lineup, Liam Fitzgerald coming to bat for the Lions. Flew out to left field to start off the day. We'll see what the lefty can do. Interesting to note, it wasn't out, but he did go oppo for that with a fly out to left. We'll see if he can do that again here as first pitch misses outside. So 6 pitches thrown here so far 7 by Khan, and 5 of them have missed the strike zone. No swings yet by any of these Lincoln Park players. They've been patient just watching the ball go by. Fitzgerald on the year hitting .350 to lead the team. Mentioned pretty good pitcher as well. Third on the team in ERA with 3.27. Was a starter in the conference game earlier this year against Taft. But for now, he'll just be playing in the infield at third base as this one hit towards Greco. Greco flips it to Kunzvitsky, who misses it, but they're going to say tag the runner. Nice innovation there by Kunzvitsky, who can't get the force out, but tags the running Luvano to get out number one. Fitzgerald will safely reach on the fielder's choice, but that will be one on, one away now in the top of the third. Kahn gets the first out, and the righty Elias Alexander coming to the plate. On deck will be Gavin McPeak as first one skied towards right field. Borgren watches it go foul and lands on top of the concourse here at Kerrywood Field. Small crowd on hand for tonight's game. Some parents in the crowd for both of these squads. These two teams, these two schools, I should say, they have a little rivalry, but not as much as you would think considering how close they are to each other, as this one misses way inside on the 0-1. Even out the count, almost hit Alexander there in the head, but luckily he was able to dive out of the way. Alexander playing over there at shortstop tonight has had a couple balls hit his way early on as Kahn tries the pickoff attempt at first base, won't get there in time. Alexander, another one of these players who can also pitch, has a fastball topping out at about 83, also has a nice changeup. Excuse me, a curveball. That goes to about 70, so we'll see if he possibly comes out of the pen. You mentioned he did do .2 innings on Saturday, but should be eligible to pitch here tonight through just 21 pitchings in that outing. As this one hit towards short, Kunzvitsky gets it, but time was called there first. And I think that is called a balk, actually. So that's going to be the first balk we have seen here issued. Took a second to register, but the umpire just called a balk there. And safely into second base will be Fitzgerald. So Fitzgerald has gotten lucky here. Reach via fielder's choice and now gets into scoring position with a balk by Kahn. Takes a big lead over there at second. No one checking him. Now Greco will come over, but Kahn will decide to throw. This one hit high towards center field. Greco gets under it, and that will be the second P4 of the day. Good job by Kunzvitsky to cover the bag, and that will be a quick second out here in the top of the third. As coming to the plate will be Gavin McPeak, the right fielder. A very good baseball player, very good pitcher, but has had some unlucky plays there in right field. Saw one ball just go over his head and then misjudged that hit by Berg that ended up going for a triple. This runner still takes the lead at second. First pitch, fastball just outside the strike zone, and we'll go to a 1-0 count. Talked about all the lefties. This is the second, two of three left-handed hitters in the lineup for the Lions, and two of those in the top three hitters. You have the leadoff guy, Fitzgerald, and then the three-hitter, McPeak, as the 1-0 misses outside, and we'll move to a 2-0 count. Peak, a multi-year contributor to this Lincoln Park Lions squad. He's a starting pitcher last year as well, as he'll try a pickoff attempt there to Kunzvitsky, but too quick back to the bag will be Fitzgerald, who's waiting, hoping he can punch in the first run of the day for the Lions, who find themselves in a 3-0 deficit currently to the champions. Kahn readies for the pitch. This one outside high. Joshua's done a good job not letting any balls get past, but McPeak has watched 3 outside fastballs go past him, and close to drawing another walk this inning. This would be the second walk for the Lions in the third, and he'll get it. So 4 balls missed to the outside to the lefty McPeak, and Lions with runners on first and second base, and the cleanup hitter, Ike Derishin, coming to the plate. Grounded out to short to start off the second inning. And we'll see what he can do here his second time up. Lane Tech looking to get back in the win column after last night's loss. Meanwhile, Lincoln Park, we mentioned, had the win against Oak Forest on Saturday. Before that, though, lost to Taft, so they're riding just a one-game win streak. As first pitch misses outside, we'll move to a 1-0 count. Temperature kind of dipping quickly here in Chicago. There is no rain in the forecast currently. Earlier there was some. Hopefully the clouds and whatnot will hold off here in Roscoe Village to allow this game to complete. As this pitch misses high, and we'll move to a 2-0 count. 6 straight balls now thrown by Kahn. And pitching coach Henry Schumacher will head to the mound and have a quick word with the junior right-hander. It's a 2-0 count on Derishin, who's trying to reach for the first time here today. The team's leader in RBIs has a chance to possibly get an RBI or two if he can get an outfield extra base hit. Currently, it's McPeak over there at first after a walk, and Liam Fitzgerald over at second after reaching on a fielder's choice and then advancing to second on a balk. Would not have mattered anyways with the walk, but an interesting way to get to second. I really did not see it. I just saw Kahn pitching straight to the bag, but the umpire near second base saw something we did not, and that is how the Lions have gotten back in business offensively here in the top of the third. As Derishin comes to the plate as the fifth batter this inning for Lincoln Park. 2 away for the first baseman. The 2-0 offering. Kahn checks back twice to second. Greco came running in there. They were just a second too slow, but a nice try there on the pickoff to second base. Sometimes you see teams more hesitant to pick off at second than you do at first, as Greco thinks about it again, but instead it'll be Kahn firing the first pitch that gets in the strike zone in his last 7 tries, and we'll go to a 2-1 now. Top of the third here from Kerrywood Field. Chilly night for baseball in Chicago. This one fouled back into the catcher's glove. Joshua dropped it, but it won't matter. And the 2-0 count quickly moves to a 2-2, and Lane Tech a big strike away from getting out of this inning. This would be the second inning that runners have been stranded. 2 runners have been stranded on the base pass for the Lions. We'll see if they can avoid that. The 2-2 high, and we'll move it to a full count. Lane Tech with 4 hits through 2 innings offensively. Lincoln Park with still no official hits. The one was a fielder's choice. But they found other ways to get on the base paths. The 3-2 runners take this one, fouled off to the right-hand side. We'll do it again. So, as expected, with a 3-2 count and 2 outs, it will be runners in motion for the Lions, that being McPeak going to second and Fitzgerald going to third. I assume they'll do the same. We'll have to have modest leads, as Lane Tech has been checking the bags pretty closely here tonight. As a 3-2, called strike 3. A delayed reaction there from the umpire, but a nice pitch there by Kahn to the outside part of the plate. And Lincoln Park will strand 2 for the second straight inning. It's the Champions 3, the Lions nothing, as we head to the bottom of the third. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel.
She was sitting all over on the tailgate, tan legs swinging by Georgia Lane. I was looking for a boyfriend, thinking, no, she ain't got one. Soon as I sat down, I was falling in love, trying to pour a little sugar in her Dixie cup, talking over the speakers in the back of that truck. She jumped up and cut me off. She was like, oh my God.
The hot-hitting Henry Murray gets us going in the bottom of the third. 4, 5, 6 hitters due up for the champions here as Murray waits for one or two more warm-up pitches. Looked like the trainer from Lane Sec. And I'm wondering if we might be in a weather delay here. Did not see any lightning or anything, but it just called the players in from the field. Lincoln Park is walking off the field, and we'll take a quick second here to try to figure out what is happening. Saw the Lane Sack trainer come and have a quick word. Usually it's not the trainer as a call on this, and now the managers for these two squads will have a quick word. No rain currently. We have not heard any thunder, didn't see any lightning, but we mentioned there is some weather in the area. And both the teams are now just going to huddle up near their dugouts. Supposed to be bottom of the third inning with Henry Murray leading things off for the champions. They're talking things over. Looks like one of the umpires pointing towards the outfield fence. And they're going to continue to talk things over here at Kerrywood Field. It's been a good couple of first innings for the champions, who are looking to win their first game since Saturday. Put one across the board in the bottom of the first, then two in the bottom of the second. Lincoln Park has threatened in the last two innings after going 1, 2, 3 in the first, but have not been able to convert any runs. 4 runners left on base the last 2 innings for Lincoln Park combined, and they still find themselves with a 3-run deficit, and Lane Sack will look to increase that. The pitcher, Kozlowski, is on the mound right now. I'm wondering if it's not a weather thing and a facilities issue here, as it looks like the umpire is going over to look at something in the bullpen. Really have no idea what they're looking at here. Saw one delay earlier this season during a doubleheader that Lane Sack had. The rain just got in the way, but they were able to continue just a couple of minutes, about half an hour later. As the umpire now head umpire is going to now walk towards home plate. Both the teams still huddling. Kozlowski, the only player on the field right now. The pitcher looks eager to get back into action. Gonna try to see if we can listen to anything the umpires are saying. Once again, a small crowd on hand for this Wednesday night action between the champions and the Lions here at Kerrywood Field. And looks like the coach is still just talking everything over. It's one of the assistant coaches right now for Lincoln Park, along with Lane Sack's head manager, Sean Freeman, talking things over near home plate. And we'll see Lane Sack's trainer walk towards home plate once again. I have a phone out, so that might be something to do with the weather forecast. Lane's played through some tricky weather, some cold weather, some rainy weather. We even got some hot weather last week that Lane Sack played through. As we're going to take a quick pause and try to see what's up with the delay, and we'll be back in just a second. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Sack Baseball here on the Lane Sack Athletics YouTube channel. So looks like it is a weather delay here as Josh Katz confirms over there near home plate. So the umpire saw some lightning in the distance, and as a result, they're going to have to put the game on hold for now. Just a delay, not a cancellation yet, but we're going to put our weather delay graphic on and go off the air for. We'll stay on the stream, but go off the air talking as we try to figure out what their solution for this is. There is no rain right now, still a dry field at Kerrywood Field, which is a good sign for a continuation of this game. But for the moment, we're going to stick with a 3-0 ball game. Lane Tech leading Lincoln Park here at Kerrywood Field, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes with more here at the home of Lane Tech Baseball. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel.
Says it's gonna rain for like an hour and stop.
Saturday, I went to with my girlfriend. Damn, because we used to play our games in North Avenue. So we had to walk all the way to North Avenue for practice, the games, and everything. And it was cold as a mother. And that black dirt. And that black dirt we had to play on, not this stuff, you know? Yeah. But you know what? It's like playing on carpet. Anybody looks good on this. I want to see them play on real good. Exactly. Yep. That's why the players back then were much better. They had reflex. Yep. I got a lot more respect for the ball players back then than today. We never played on nice fields like this.
I've been wanting to see them play, but I didn't know about it before, but I know a kid that used to play for Lane. He coaches the freshman team now. He keeps me updated. One of the kid that plays for Lane.
What's the time clock here? 20
Well, actually, he's the coaches the freshman. I think they do 30. One of the coaches on the freshman. He keeps me updated. He works at one of the delivery points that I deliver to. And he keeps me updated. Pardon?
My son's throwing Friday.
Oh, really?
He's a lefty.
Oh, okay.
He's 6'6".
Who's he throwing against?
But we're playing here River Forest.
River Forest.
Yeah.
Suburbs?
Yeah, well, it's right, you know. It's so fun.
River. That River Park?
What's that?
That River Park?
River Forest, I think.
Oh, okay. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, it's like, it's right, it's small, it's next to Oak Park.
So it's not a conference game then?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I just told when and where.
Oh, okay.
I got 2 kids, all in sports.
I mean, let me go over here so we have to yell at each other.
Oh, yeah, here.
And just like that, we are back in business here from Kerrywood Field. Thank you to all of you who have stuck with us after a nearly hour and a half delay. Lots of lightning in the area. There was a little bit more just a minute or two ago. However, it looked like it was too far off in the distance for them to make any more calls. So for now, we are going to play some baseball. And this is going to be one of the longest games of the season as a result. When we got started, it actually was going at a pretty quick pace between these two squads. It was in the bottom of inning number 3 when we last left off, and it was the start of the inning. Henry Murray was about to go up to bat. We'll recap everything that happened through the last couple of innings for you guys in just a second, but luckily with this turf field, even though there was a bit of wind and rain making the facility not ideal, with the turf, it still will be playable, and that is where things will stand as we pick up here at Kerrywood Field in a big Jackie Robinson North matchup between these two squads. Lane Tech entering tonight atop the conference. Meanwhile, the Lincoln Park Lions 4th in the conference, but 2, 3, and 4 are all 4-2. So a win tonight would jumpstart them to the top of the conference. They'll have to do it from behind, though. They trail 3-0 as we return to game action. Lane Tech got started early after Lincoln Park went 1-2-3 in the top of the first inning. Lane Tech responded with a run of their own. It was a fly out by Teo Greco, but then a walk by Josh Katz. He came all the way around the score off an RBI ground out by Henry Murray. So Lane Tech took an early 1-0 lead. Once again, Lincoln Park could not get on the board in the second. They threatened with runners on first and second with 2 outs. However, they could not punch in any runners, and that ended up being another no-score inning, and Lane Tech responded with 2 of their own. Leadoff double by Ethan Borgren, and then a triple 2 batters later by Carson Berg. Both of those 2 guys would come home to score, and Lane Tech would take a lead then after that at a score of 3-0. And then in the top of the third, the last half inning we played, it got a little bit close there. It was a walk to start off the inning, then a fielder's choice single, and then a pop out to second, a walk, and then a ground out to end the inning. So that is how things will stand as we head to the bottom of the third here at Kerrywood Field. We are expecting both the teams to have a couple of minutes of I guess you could say, warm-up time. I'm not sure how this is going to go with the pitchers. Usually when pitchers have a long break, there's some problems, so we'll see if they change either of the arms currently on the mound. It is Aiden Choslowski for the Lincoln Park Lions. He has gone 2 innings, given up 3 runs, all earned, 4 hits, and Lane Tech has left 3 runners on base. As for Lane Tech, they threw their right-handed junior Aman Khan. He has not given up a hit yet, has given up a few base runners in the second and third inning, but technically no hits given up yet by Khan, so that's something to keep a note on. He's given up no runs, no errors yet by Lane Tech, and the big number so far, 4 runners left on base by Lincoln Park. They had runners in scoring position in both the second and third inning, could not convert either one of them home, and that is how things will stand as we get ready to get going in the bottom of the third. Lane Tech has had lots of success in this series in recent history. They have won 13 straight against the Lincoln Park Lions, dating back to as far as Max Preps goes. Actually, as Max Preps has existed since 2004, 2005, and in that time, Lane Tech has not lost a game to Lincoln Park. So Lane Tech historically a big leader in the all-time series. We'll see if the Lions can get an upset victory here tonight. They played twice last year. Lane Tech got the victory in both of them. One of them was close, though. First game on April 25th, Lane Tech took care of business, a 7-0. One second, we'll be right back. As we were saying, a 7-0 victory for Lane Tech in Game 1 of last year's Jackie Robinson North Series, and then in Game 2 it was a 3-2 win for Lane Tech, so much closer the second time around, but the champions still were able to squeak out the victory last time these squads took on each other. It's a busy night across the Jackie Robinson North Conference. 4 games were scheduled as teams jostle for position. We're about the midway point of the conference season. All teams will play 14. This is the 7th game, so this is actually exactly the halfway point for Lane Tech through the conference year. However, the schedule does get a little bit easier down the stretch. Lane's now, after this week, going to have played 2 of the top 3 teams, not including them, in the conference. They'll have a series against Ogden International. That should be interesting coming up in a little bit, but Whitney Young, Payton, and Amundsen at the bottom of the conference have combined for the same number of conference wins as just Lane Tech has. So Lane Tech hypothetically should have an easier go at it the rest of the way, but for now, that is how things are looking. The other games that were tonight, Amundsen traveling to Ogden International. Amundsen still just 1 conference win. They were looking for a second one tonight. Payton traveling to Whitney Young. Payton, another team, 1 win in conference play, looking for win number 2. And then in what could have been an interesting series, I saw a couple of the Vaughn players come here, so I'm not sure if that one got canceled due to weather, but Taft was traveling up to Von Steuben. Those 2 were going to be 2 teams to watch. Those are 2 teams to watch in the Jackie Robinson North Conference. Taft actually just beat Lincoln Park last week, so those are definitely 2 of the top contenders in the conference. Last year, Lincoln Park finished 4th in the conference after a 13-15 regular season, 8-6 in conference play, so they're actually on pace to be pretty similar to where they were last year, and they're 4th in the conference right now, so they've been around that position for a while. In the city playoffs, they beat Jones 12-10 in the second round, but then lost to Kenwood 10-0 in the quarterfinals, and then Kenwood lost to Lane Tech. Lane Tech went on to win the city title. So all these teams are kind of on a similar intercept in the city playoffs last season, and will be very interesting to see how the city playoffs shake up this year. Lane Tech hoping they can get a number 1 overall seed, or I guess technically they'll be the 2 seed as they alternate. The south side teams are on the odd seed lines, and the north side teams are on the north seed lines, but either way, Lane Tech will be hopefully the top north side team if they play the way they have in conference play. Lane Tech controls their own destiny. They're the only 1-loss team left, so if they're able to win out in conference play, which definitely would not be unheard of, they will control that 2 overall seed in the Chicago Public League City playoffs, hoping to make it back to the city title game for back-to-back years, which would be a big accomplishment for this squad. This is a Lane Tech team that has had a lot of hope all season long. There's a lot of really, really competitive guys on this Lane Tech team who have had good seasons. They just had some struggles at times putting it all together, like what we saw last night. They played very well for 6 innings and then came all crashing down in the 7th. If Lane Tech can put together a solid 7 innings, there's a lot of teams in the state that Lane Tech can compete with. We'll just see if they can do it heading into the home stretch. Taking a look at that home stretch, still a couple of weeks to go in the regular season, but we'll give you a look at the next week or 2 for the champions. They obviously have this season against Lincoln Park, and then they start their home and home with Whitney Young on Friday. That's going to be a late one, 7 p.m. on the road at Whitney Young. We won't have the call for that one, but it's a nice facility Whitney Young has built out over there, so if you can't make it over there, you definitely should try to. Then they travel to St. Viator at 1 p.m. on Saturday for what should be a competitive one between 2 borderline top 25 teams throughout the season. And then if you look ahead to next week, they complete their home and home with Whitney Young on Monday. That's a 4:30 first pitch here from Cary Woodfield. We'll have coverage for that one starting at 4:25. Payton on the road on Wednesday, and then they close out the week with back-to-back home games. Payton at 4:30 on Friday, and then home with Flossmoor at 10 a.m., I want to say, maybe 1 p.m. on Saturday. And then that's really the second to last week of the regular season, and we weren't going to go through the whole regular season, but where we're at now, we might as well. So after this is looking ahead now 2 Mondays from now, they have Ogden International on May 1st at 5:30. Then it should be a fun one. Chicago Mount Carmel at 7:15 p.m. on May 2nd, and then Ogden International May 3rd, and Chicago Hope Academy for senior day/night on May 6th, and then city playoffs, and then they close it out with 3 regular season games, St. Rita, Nazareth, and Jones on the 15th, 17th, and 18th before they head to the state playoffs, where Lane Sac, we have not announced this on the broadcast yet, but I was looking at IHSA the other day, and Lane Sac is going to be hosting a regional. Last year they had to travel to Glenbrook North for the regional. This time it's going to be at Kerrywood Field as it was 2 years ago, so that's going to be very exciting. It's a good stretch of games for Lane Sac. There's some winnable games, but there's also some competitive resume boosting games that the champions will have in the next couple of weeks, so it'll be interesting to see. Me personally, I'm very much looking forward to that Chicago Mount Carmel game. Lane Sac played them last year on the road, but Mount Carmel was supposed to come here my freshman year 3 years ago. That season got COVID. That was the year that Ed Howard of the Chicago Cubs, MLB draft pick, was on at Mount Carmel. Unfortunately, he did not get to come play here at Kerrywood Field. That would have been pretty cool. But instead, Lane Sac will face off against an always competitive Chicago Mount Carmel program coming up in a few weeks' time on May 2nd. But back to our game. Looks like we're just about ready to go. It is Lane Sac 3, Lincoln Park 0 as we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Henry Murray will be hitting in the 4th spot, but we'll run you through the whole batting order once again for Lane Sac. Teo Greco hitting leadoff. He's 0 for 1 on the day, reached once on a fielder's choice. Josh Katz 1 for 1 with a single and a run. Walked in the first, came around the score. Louis Derishin 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout. Henry Murray in the 4th spot. He is 0 for 1 but has an RBI in the first. Zach Joshua 0 for 1. Ethan Borgren 1 for 1 with a run. Tyler Trapp 0 for 1. Carson Berg 1 for 1 with a triple and a run. And Adam Kunzitsky 0 for 0. He walked his first time up. Around the diamond for the Lincoln Park Lions, we're expecting this to be the same pitching for the Lions, and we'll see this in a second as they're running off onto the field right now, and looks like that is going to be the left-hander Aiden Choslowski, so they're going to stick with him after this long rain delay. Will be interesting to see how he does after this big break. Catching for him tonight is Rogers, Derishin at first base, Lovano at second, Fitzgerald at third, Alexander at short, Phelps, Lindsay, and McPeak are in the outfield from left to right. Choslowski looked good through his first couple of innings, struggled a little bit with control. Same could be said for Amon Khan, so we'll see if he can get back at it here after the big break. I mean, there's even some sun peeking through from the west side right now, so the weather has definitely taken a turn. We still have the lights on, but I think the field is actually a lot lighter than it was when we were playing before the weather delay, so I guess you could say that is a plus. There is supposed to be a second game coming up between St. Patrick and, I'm not sure, it might have been Nazareth, not sure what the other team was. We can check that later on, but we'll see. That game's going to be a late first pitch, as this one's not even going to get restarted until 7:07. Lane Sac had their game last night, did not start until 7:30, so a couple of late nights for these Lane Sac baseball players, as you see some lightning in the distance, but it's not going to delay us now. Henry Murray walking around to the on-deck circle. Shazowski taking a couple more warm-up pitches, and then we'll be ready to go here from Kerrywood Field. Once again, thanks to all of you who stuck with us through the weather delay. Definitely a weird day of baseball, but we're glad you can stay with us here on the Lane Sac Athletics YouTube channel. Always fun when these two Northside teams face off against each other. Kozlowski pitching in his second straight game, went .1 innings, got the save, only took 4 pitches against Oak Forest on Saturday before heading back to action here tonight. Second straight year he's gotten a start against Lane, and he's had some very, very impressive performances this year, namely game 1 against Payton. This is a pretty unbelievable stat line. Through a complete game, so 7 innings, 1 run given up, 13 strikeouts, and then to top things off, bottom of the 7th inning, hit a walk-off bases-loaded RBI single. So he's really a two-way player, and we will see if he can will his team back into this one as Henry Murray steps into the on-deck circle, bottom of the 3rd, and over an hour and a half later, we are back here at Kerrywood Field. First pitch from the lefty Kozlowski is a curveball that misses down low. This will end up being probably the longest game of the year for Lane Tech. Not quite into the second half as Murray lifts this to center field. Line drive caught by Lindsay, and that will be an F8 to start off the return to play. Once again, it'll be very interesting to see. The players were obviously all trying to stay warmed up there, but for a second it looked like it was going to get canceled, and then the players kind of just had to wait and pass the time for, as we mentioned, 90-plus minutes. So we'll see how that affects them here in the return to play as Zach Shashua comes to the plate, the 5-hitter for the Champions. First pitch taken for a strike on the outside part of the plate. Kozlowski's had a lot of success on the outside part of the plate. Some of his pitches have been too high, too low, but when he works those corners, it's been well as Shashua skies this towards first base, and dropping the throw is going to be Darish in there, bounces into the outfield, and a misplay there by the first baseman, Ike Darish, and Luvano was over there too, and it kind of just went between those two, and as a result, Lane Tech's going to have a runner on second base. They will use a courtesy runner, though, looks like in the form of Andrew Contreras here for the Champions. So runner in scoring position as Lane Tech looks to add to their lead. That probably will not end up counting as a hit. It will probably go as an error on the first baseman, Darish, in there. But either way, Lane Tech has a runner aboard, and coming to the plate will be the 6-hitter, Ethan Borgren, who takes the first pitch for a strike. One away runner on second base for the Champions. As Kozlowski looks back, fires into Borgren, who lifts this to right field. Chasing after it, there's McPeak, but it will travel foul. A lot of fans scurried out of Kerrywood Field with the rain. Once again, did not look like there was going to be a game here for a while, but it ends up being a good sign to wait because now it's pretty nice weather for this rest of the game as curveball misses outside, and we'll go to a 1-1 count. Some action going on at Lane Stadium as well. Some boys lacrosse action on this Wednesday evening as Borgren goes to the right side again, this time chasing after it's first baseman Darishin, who misses the grab in foul territory. So a couple of misses there by the first baseman, and we'll move to a 1-2 count on Borgren, looking to reach for the second time today. Hit a nice double his first time up, came around the score. He's one of Lane Tech's 3 runs here today and would love to add another one here. Couple of the Von Steuben players in attendance for tonight's game. They've played both of these teams, so not any scouting. They're just trying to take a look at how the conference standings will be at the end of the night. Obviously, Von Steuben hoping to win back-to-back conference titles after a come-from-behind conference win last year. As Borgren here readies for the 2-2. This one hit towards the right side again. It's going to travel foul. McPeak chasing after it and makes the grab in foul territory. Contreras, though, will tag up to third. And Lane Tech is 1 base away from a 4-run lead here in inning number 3 of action. Borgren was getting some good airtime on those balls. He had 2 of them that sailed out of Kerrywood Field to the right foul territory, and then that one goes a little bit too far into the glove of McPeak, but enough to advance the runner, and now Tyler Trapp will look to add an RBI to his season statistics. Walks into the righty's batter's box away in the first pitch. Contreras with the lead at third. First pitch high for a ball, and we'll move to a 1-0 count. 2 away, Lane Tech with the 3-0 lead here in inning number 3. as the 1-0 goes outside again, and we'll move it to a 2-0 count. Both of these pitchers we mentioned earlier, Kozlowski and and Khan had some troubles finding the strike zone, and looks like that may be continuing here as 3 straight balls to start off the at-bat against Tyler Trapp, the sophomore, one of 3 sophomores in the starting lineup for the Champions. Lanes used a lot of their youth this season as 3-0 just nips the outside of the zone, and we'll move it to a 3-1 count. It's an interesting mix. You have a sophomore leading off, then a pair of seniors, then another sophomore, then a senior, then a junior, sophomore, senior, senior. So very good mix as Trapp fouls this one back, and we'll move from a 3-0 to a 3-2 quite quickly. Lane Tech with 1 on. This would be the first inning that they did not score a run should they not reach here. They haven't had a hit yet because the one reach was via an error this inning. We'll see if Trapp can change that on the 3-2. Kozlowski fires at 1 down low and inside, and won't need a hit. He'll reach via a walk. And now it's runners on the corners with 2 away for the Champions here, and Carson Berg coming to the plate. A little bit of Iggy Azalea for his walk-up song, and we'll see if the righty, one of the team's leaders in on-base percentage, he has found so many ways to reach this year, and we'll see if he can add another way here to get a big reach for the Champions. Trying to put this game out of reach early against the Lions. First pitch, runner thinks about second, will hold back, and it'll go for a ball. We've seen Trapp get caught a couple times stealing or get caught in weird pickoffs before. One time he started to go and then changed his mind, and then they were already trying to pick him off, so got out that way. So we'll see how careful he is over there at first base as 1-0 dips down for a ball, and we'll move to a 2-0 count. No bullpen work yet for the Lions. Looks like a bullpen catcher might have strolled in there just a second ago as we were saying that. So we'll see how much trust they have in the senior lefty. Team's leader in ERA, but he's already given up 3 here today. 2-0. It's the bottom inside part of the zone, and we'll move to a 2-1 count. Kozlowski, a Chicago Warriors player, like a lot of these Lane Tech baseball players. A lot of these Lane guys know him from various baseball activities. He got to play in the the National High School Baseball Championship on ESPN this summer. Pretty cool opportunity for him. Pitched against Mississippi, went a 1-2-3 inning, and had a strikeout against Mississippi, as this will be a 5-ball walk, and the bases are loaded now for the Champions in the top of the 4th. So looks like no rush for the Lane Tech offense. Kozlowski got 2 quick outs in the first 3 batters, but back-to-back walks now has Contreras pinch hitting for pinch running for Joshua at third, Tyler Trapp at second, and Carson Berg at first base. Kunzvitsky will look to keep the inning going. It's had an up-and-down bat this year for the Champions, but was able to reach his first time up with a walk, out advancing to second on a fielder's choice. As this one pieced to right field, but a nice jumping catch by Lovano there. And that will bring the inning to a close. A L4 to end the inning. Champions strand the bases loaded. We'll head to the 4th. It's the Champions 3. The Lincoln Park Lions nothing. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. Pitching change as we move to the top of the fourth here at Kerrywood Field. Aman Khan will go 3 innings after the weather delay. He does not come back out, but a nice performance by the junior right-hander, and they'll move to another junior right-hander, Aiden Bozak, taking the mound for the 7th time this year. Sixth time this year. He's had 5 previous appearances. As first pitch, curveball gets in there for a strike. We'll move to an 0-1 count at bat for the Lions. Is going to be the center fielder, Brett Lindsay, who watches a 0-1, miss a little bit outside. Another left-handed hitter, one of 3 or 4. We originally had 3, but I think I forgot about Lindsay. So 4 lefties in the lineup here today for the Lincoln Park Lions. Bozak on the year comes in with a 6.0 ERA and 4.2 innings pitched. Has been a nice relief guy for the Champions. One of a couple young relievers that Champions have found some success with. Obviously, Caden Tokowitz, who started yesterday. He's been an excellent addition to this team. Got the start last night as Bozak fires a ball 4 and leadoff runner aboard here in the top of the 4th. Lane Zach with a 3-0 lead here over the Lincoln Park Lions. And that will bring to the plate the catcher, Harrison Rogers, who's had a busy night behind the plate. And kudos to him. There's only been 2 stolen bases, and it was on a double steal. There's been a lot of pitches that could have been wild pitches, and for the most part, Rogers did a really good job keeping them from being wild pitches. As runner takes his lead at first, a high pickoff attempt over there to Borgren. It was nice timing. They probably would have had a chance to get him, but instead the tag misses, and we'll keep it at a 1-0 count. This one piece high in the foul territory. Darishan and Joshua get under it, and Louis Darishan makes the grab for out number 1. So nice F5 there for the first out of the 4th inning. Runner unable to advance there from first base. Once again, that's Brett Lindsay standing over there at first, and Bozak gets the first out while on the mound, as we're going to see the 7-hitter and pitcher Aiden Kozlowski come to the plate. First pitch misses low for a ball and a 1-0 count. It's not every day you see your best pitcher also be one of your best hitters, but that's exactly the case when it comes to Kozlowski. We mentioned that earlier walk-off RBI he had. This one fouled off to the left-hand side. Even the count now at 1-1. 3rd on the team in on-base percentage, 3rd in RBIs, 2nd in slugging, has a triple, 3 doubles on the season. He's done a little bit of everything. Had an RBI in that win against Oak Forest, as a throw to first is going to be wild off the glove of Bozak and safely into second. With the extra base is going to be Lindsay. And runner in scoring position for the 3rd consecutive inning for the Lions. They were unable to do anything with it in the in the 2nd and 3rd. We'll see if that success is changed here in the 4th. Joshua's going to come over to have a quick word with Bozak there on the mound. Lane Sack, we've talked about this last couple of days. They have 5 straight games this week, Tuesday through Saturday, a game scheduled every day. So the way they use their arms is going to be very interesting. As Bozak fires this one, hit towards center field. Katz barely has to move, gets under it, and makes the grab. Runner will not advance to 3rd. And just like that, it's 2 away here quickly, and Lincoln Park looking to avoid stranding runners for a 3rd straight inning. Lane Sex actually stranded runners in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. The worst came in the 3rd when they had the bases loaded before a line out by Kunvitsky to end the inning. But both the teams have had some troubles punching in guys they get on base, as Bozak gets ready for the first pitch to the 8-hitter Andrew Phelps. And misses for a ball. Will go to a 1-0. No relation that we know of to the famous swimmer, but still a cool name as the left fielder awaits the 1-0 from Bozak. That one inside as well. Mixed success here early on by Bozak finding the strike zone. Lincoln Park's gotten some good contact on it, but they've gotten no fair contact. Everything that they've hit has gone either foul or to a lane sack defender. 2 flyouts so far this inning, as this one down the third base line will chop foul and we go to a 2-1. Phelps donning the jersey number 23. It's a pretty small Lincoln Park line roster when you look at it compared to Lane Tech. You could see it just while they are lining up. They are short 2 players, but if you look at even without those 2 players missing, as this one hit to first, Borgren will grab it, and that will be a ground out to the first baseman to end the inning. Lane Tech still no hits given up through 4 innings. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th. Here at Kerrywood Field, you're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. Halfway through this one, we head to the bottom of the 4th. Lane Tech controlling with a 3-0 lead. They'll look to add to it, and they have their top of the lineup to try to do so. Teo Greco, Josh Katz, Louis Darish, and due up here in the bottom of the 4th for the champions as Greco comes to the plate, still looking for his first hit of the day. Reached via a fielder's choice in the 2nd, flew out his first plate appearance there in the 1st inning as first pitch curveball misses outside. We'll go to a 1-0 count. Aiden Cheslowski still on the mound for a 4th inning of work. So Lincoln Park a little more out of their starter than Lane Tech did. This one chopped down the third base line. They call it a little bit foul and will even it out of 1-1 count. Looked like the third baseman there, Fitzgerald, was ready to throw it over to first, but they do not get that in time. And instead, it will just go for a strike. We were talking about before the break the difference in number of players rostered for these 2 squads. Lane Tech has 27 guys rostered, and Lincoln Park 16, 2 of which are not here today. So they have 5 guys on the bench. So you wonder why they're trying to get a lot out of their pitcher. It's partially because there's not a lot of extra arms on the bench for the Lions. Lane Tech, is obviously kind of an outlier when it comes to high school baseball teams, but usually you see at least, 20 or so. 16 and 14 dressed, definitely a small number for a high school team as we move to a 3-2 count on Greco. Lane Tech looking to get the leadoff guy aboard for the 2nd inning. As this one skied towards right field. McPeak's had some trouble, but this time battles the sun and gets it to drop in his glove for an out number 1. It's very weird weather here. It's kind of extraterrestrial looking sky here. It's the sunset and the stormy clouds you see downtown in the background, but actually a very beautiful backdrop for baseball here as Josh Katz comes to the plate. This one hit right up the middle. Will drop for a single. Picking it up is Lindsay, but not in time as Katz is aboard for the third time today. He's putting up a nice little stat line. 2 for 2 now with a walk as well and a run in the first inning off that walk. He's reached first. He's reached second in the second inning. And we'll see what he can do now as Louis Derishin comes to the plate with 1 away and a runner aboard. First one inside, drops out of the glove there of Rogers, but doesn't go too far, so Katz will stay at first. Champions building upon a 3-0 lead as we near 7:30 local time here in Roscoe Village, Chicago. It's about the start time that we had last night against Kenwood. That was a late game. This one also going pretty late, but for different reasons. As Kozlowski looks in for the pitch, 2-0, piece to right field. McPeak dropping back, and this one is over the fence. Louis Derishin has been inching closer and closer this year to an over-the-fence home run, and he gets the honors of the first 4-bagger over the fence this year for Lane Tech baseball at their home ballpark. Hit all 4 bases. Quite a hit there from Derishin. And the Champions have a 5-0 lead. He's had some hits this year that have looked faster off the bat. That one kind of just carried. We mentioned the wind is out to right field. He goes oppo to about 330 feet or so there to right field. It's very hard to hit a home run here. Murray's going to go right field again. McPeak dropping back. This one off the fence, almost back-to-back for the Champions. And Murray's going to go around second. There might be a play at third. They won't. And the Champions go single, home run, and now triple in back-to-back orders. And they've broken out a 5-0 lead here. We're going to see a mound visit from manager Jake Van Dyke here, and we'll see if that's the day from Kozlowski or not. Looks like they are talking. Oh, I wonder if there was a ball error. It looks like they're almost calling for a ground rule double out there in right field. So not sure what this is about. But what an inning for the Champions, who show no signs of slowing down after that weather delay. They came out to not score in the third, but now a single. Josh Katz comes around to score his second run of the day. And then we have home run by Louis Derishin and a triple by Henry Murray. And I'm wondering if this means, no, it's just going to be calling in the infield. I wonder if they were calling the right fielder, Gavin McPeak, into pitch. But looks like they're going to keep their trust in Kozlowski for now. Zach Joshua coming to the plate. Ethan Borgren is in the... Ethan Borgren's on deck and Tyler Trapp in the hole. Top 6, 7 guys have been very dangerous this year for the Champions. Carson Berg entering the lineup. He's also been dangerous, so very well-rounded offensive lineup for the Champions here this 2023 season, and they're reaping the benefits tonight. 5 runs already in the game, 2 in the 4th inning. They have not scored more than 2 in an inning yet. We'll see if they can do that here. As first pitch to Joshua, curveball gets in there on the outside part of the plate, and we'll move to an 0-1 count. Joshua today, 0 for 1, reached on an air, ended up being a double in the third, came around to third. Could not score, though, so he's still looking for his first run. This one down the third base line over the glove of the third baseman Fitzgerald. Easily in the score is Murray. They'll hold Joshua at first. And Lane Sack with back-to-back hits here in the 4th inning after a leadoff flyout by Greco. There's going to be another pinch runner. This time it is in the form of Andrew Contreras again. Courtesy runner Andrew Contreras comes to the base pass. He was the courtesy runner in the third for Joshua. And as we mentioned, got stuck up there at third. 3 runs now in for the Champions as first pitch check swing high will go for a ball. Lane Tech with one of their better innings so far this year, I would say. Two singles, a home run, and a triple as 1-0 misses inside to Borgren, and we'll move it to a 2-0 count. Gray skies coming in again here in Chicago. Hopefully we'll have the weather hold off so we can complete this game. However, the magic number is 5. That's the number of innings that need to be played for it to be called a complete game, as we'll see 3 straight balls here. Kozlowski almost falls to his knees there. Really not happy with his pitch there. And we'll see if Borgren can reach with the walk. Probably won't be swinging here, and Kozlowski, knowing that, throws a fastball, gets it in the strike zone. We'll move to a 3-1 count. Contreras over there at first base, looking to advance. Borgren on the year, the team leader in stolen bases and also one of the leaders in RBIs, as this one past the second baseman Lovano into right field. And another single for the champions. That is now 5 straight hits by Lane Tech. We're making this look easy here in the 4th. 6-run lead, and they're not done yet. Tyler Trapp coming up to the plate as we near the bottom of the lineup here. Lane Tech looking to hit through the lineup. They've already sent 6 guys to the plate, Trapp being the 7th. As he readies for the first pitch. Still no bullpen work yet from the Lions. First pitch high for a ball. Once again, very impressive play here today from Rogers to avoid any wild pitches from the lefty pitcher. Rogers, the catcher tonight for Lincoln Park. As the 1-0 hit foul to the right-hand side, that will go out of play, and we'll move it to a 1-1 count. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call here from Cary Woodfield. A chilly night for baseball, but always glad to have high school action here at Cary Woodfield this season. I've been talking with a couple players. They all agree it's just been flying by. I think only about 2-3 weeks left in the regular season, and then off to city playoffs. Definitely moving by fast. Lane Tech a little over 500. Had some tough losses, some good wins, and they're looking to start another win streak here tonight against Lincoln Park, as big cut on the 2-1 misses, and we'll even it out at a 2-2 count on Tyler Trapp. He's had 2 home runs this year, which leads the team. However, none of them over the fence here at Cary Woodfield like we saw Darishin do. He'd love to do that here, and this one instead towards center field. This will go past the center fielder, Lindsay. This will be at least a double. Trapp is speedy. Borgren on the footsteps of Contreras. This will be at least a triple. They're going to hold Trapp at third, and that's a 2 RBI triple for Tyler Trapp. We had a rough couple of games, but an excellent rebound here against against Lincoln Park. Gets his first hit of the day. Lane Tech scores 2. That was Contreras coming from second. And I'm not sure if you could see that on your screen, but Borgren was basically on the footsteps of Contreras. You don't see that often with courtesy runners. They're usually pretty speedy, but Borgren was just racing around the base paths, and that's going to be the day for Aiden Kozlowski as he exits the game. I don't think he's moving to the outfield. Instead, it's just going to be a straight call to the bullpen, and we'll look quickly to see who it is moving on to the mound for the Lions. Looks like it's going to be their number 19, Max Mellis. I'll get you some more on him in a second. Lane Tech with an 8-0 lead. It will be a runner at third with 1 out when we return to game action. And Lane now looking like they will hit through the lineup in the 4th. But back to what we were saying, Max Mellis taking the mound here tonight for the Lions. The juniors not had that much action. Did have a good game against Payton. Game 2 against the Grizzlies. Went 3 innings, gave up 2 runs, but did get the save against this against this Payton squad. So it'll be Mellis with a tougher position here with an 8-0 deficit. But we'll see if he can rebound. Kozlowski, a rough day. We'll add up his stats real quickly here. He gave up 6 hits there in the 4th. He's going to end up pitching 3 1/3 innings before they send it to Mellis. It was 10 hits given up 8 runs, I believe, all earned, 1 error against his defense, and he did strand 6 runners. I think that was the most impressive thing. His best inning of all might have been the 3rd. No runs given up. Lane Sack threatened with the bases loaded, and Czeslowski got out of it. No runs were given up there, but script was flipped a little bit here in the 4th. A flyout by Teo Greco, but then a single by Katz, home run by Louis Dershin, triple by Henry Murray, single by Zach Shashua, single by Ethan Borgren, and Tyler Trapp with a triple for the cherry on top. And Lane Sack still in motion. Carson Berg's going to come to the plate. He's reached both of his first 2 times up here. Mellis has had a couple of these warm-up pitches. I'm not sure if you've been watching, but just sailed out of his hands and past the catcher. So definitely something for Lane Sack to be watching, especially with a guy at 3rd who would love to steal home. We mentioned Tyler Trapp, a speedy guy over there in the corner, and he would love if he's able to punch in Lane Sack's 9th run here of the game, and it would be their 5th of the 7th inning. We just have to close out all of these triangles on our scorecard. We have 5 straight completed, filled-in diamonds from the 2 to the 6 hitters now, as Carson Berg comes to the plate and will get us going here. And I'm trying to see if we maybe did have a lineup change. Kozlowski was in the outfield for a second, and now is coming off the field, and I think they're going to keep him on the bench. So no positional changes here for the Lions, it looks like. As Carson Berg comes to the plate, we saw some more lightning in the distance, but they do not call it here, as first pitch gets in there for a strike, and we'll move to an 0-1 count. 1 away, runner at 3rd base, 8-0 Lane Sack with the lead over Lincoln Park here, 7:40 local time in Chicago, Illinois. Some lacrosse action over at Lane Stadium. Quiet at DePaul Stadium tonight as Berg fouls off the 0-1, and Lincoln Park moves to an 0-2 count. Mellis would love to get an out here on the first batter face to kind of kill this Lane Sack momentum. The 0-2 curveball fouled back, and Berg stays alive. Looked like that one might have hit his hands, but he's okay. So we'll stay on 0-2. Trapp waiting patiently over there in the hot corner at 3rd base, being checked conservatively by the 3rd baseman Fitzgerald. It's Lincoln Park infield, probably frustrated. They've seen a couple of balls go way, just blasted past them. Lane's had some very high exit velocities, I'm sure, off their hits this inning, as Berg takes ball 1, and we'll move to a 1-2 count. Wind really gusting out to right field right now, so we'll see if Berg can maybe go outfield. Oppo, excuse me, get something to travel. Went Oppo on the foul ball there, and he'll stick at a 1-2 count. Lane Sack dugout happy with that one. Adam Kunzvitsky waits in the on-deck circle. Teo Greco in the hole here for the champions. Mellis has had his pitches under control so far. The 1-2 hit towards center field. Chasing back after it is Lindsay, and this is going to drop to the fence again. Berg speeding around 2nd. They are going to send him to 3rd. He is absolutely sprinting right now, and that is back-to-back stand-up triples for the champions. Still just 1 away, and they have a 9-0 lead now over Lane Sack, and some Taylor Swift feels very appropriate as Adam Kunzvitsky walks to home plate. A celebratory mood right now for the champions, who, after a rough game last night, have responded excellently here in the first game of a home-and-home series against the Lincoln Park Lions. First pitch to Kunzvitsky, down low for a ball. We'll move to a 1-0 count. Lane Sack now leads 9-0 over Lincoln Park. Teo Greco waits in the on-deck circle. The pitch. He's going to miss high. Back-to-back balls here. Kunzvitsky, last time up, lined out to second base to end the 3rd inning. But if you go back 2 innings ago, he walked, got out advancing to 2nd, but he has had a reach here today, looking to do it again here tonight. As the 2-0 misses inside. Mellis, 3 straight balls to start off the at-bat. Was competitive in his first batter faced with Berg before that one was lifted to center field. Been a hard night for the outfielders for Lincoln Park. But now 3 straight balls on the 3-0. Goes low, but it will hit the strike zone, and we'll move to a 3-1 count on Kunzvitsky. Lane Tech with 7 straight hits this inning. As a 3-1 high and outside fastball, and Lane Tech has runners in the corners, trying to reach the double-digit mark here now in the 4th, and Teo Greco coming to the plate. And if that name sounds familiar, you're probably a Lane Tech baseball fan, but also it's because he already hit this inning. Started off this inning with a fly out to right field, and Lane Tech has not had a guy get out since. So there's still just one away here with runners on the corners for Greco. Reached once in the 2nd with a fielder's choice single, but he's yet to record a hit. 2 flyouts to left and right field. If he wants to hit one to center field, this would be the time. Lane's had a couple of balls just absolutely rocketed out to center field for doubles and triples here this inning, as this one goes low. Quick recap: single by Katz, Darishin with a home run, triple by Henry Murray, and then a singles, back-to-back singles from Joshua and Borgren, and then back-to-back triples from Trapp and Berg before Kunzvitsky got walked a couple minutes ago. As 1-0 curves out, and we'll move to a 2-0 count. Mellis has had good control on his pitches. Not a lot has slipped away from the grips of Rogers. He just has not located the strike zone just yet. We mentioned 14 players dressed tonight for the Lions, and Mellis is the 10th to enter the game. As the 2-0 rung up for a strike, we'll go to a 2-1 count. 1 away here in the bottom of the 4th. Apologies, folks, didn't update our score bug there. Quick scoring recap: 1 run in the first for Lane Tech, 2 in the 2nd. Lincoln Park's been held scoreless and hitless through 4. As Greco fouls this one out, we'll even it out at a 2-2 count. The sky's getting really dark here in Chicago. Some crazy lightning there downtown. I'm not sure if this is a sign that it's about to rain or if it is just the night skies getting dark here in Chicago, but definitely hoping they can get at least 5 innings for this so it can get finalized as a win in the book for the champions, at least at the pace we are headed. As Greco readies for the 2-2 after a quick break in play there. It's Kunzvitsky at first base, Berg at 3rd. Runner takes towards 2nd. This one's outside, lunging after it is Rogers. We'll move to a full count, and Lane Tech with 2 runs in scoring position now. So Kunzvitsky at 2nd, Berg at 3rd. As we were saying, Lane Tech 1 in the first, 2 in the 2nd, and now they've added on 6 to their total here in the 4th. Lincoln Park's been held scoreless so far. See if their bats can get woken up. They're going to need a big-time rally starting with their 9-hitter next inning. As Mellis looks in for the 3-2. Fouled off, we'll do it again. Greco's been excellent this season, just battling at the plate. Seems like often he works deep into the counts when he's up to bat, and today we mentioned some rough goes at it at the plate, but he's just a real warrior there at the plate. And looking to do that again. The 3-2 for the 2nd time from Mellis. The pitch down low and outside, and as we said, he battles and he gets bailed out with a walk. His 2nd reach here today. And Lane Tech has the bases loaded. 1 out for Josh Katz, who started that 7-batter hit streak 9 batters ago in this same inning. Singled, came around the score. Was the first run this inning, and we'll see what Katz can do here. Runners take their leads on all 3 bags. First pitch, curveball gets in there for a strike. That's the strike that has worked best for both. That's the pitch that has worked best for getting strikes for both Kozlowski and now Mellis in relief. Be interesting to see what Lane Tech does pitching-wise with such a big lead now. As the 1-0 excuse me, the 0-1 reaches outside. We'll go to a 1-1. That one curved as well, but a little too far outside. Cats entered the night as one of the team's leaders in 9 of their statistical categories. That number might go up as this one up the middle. Cats aboard with his 3rd single of the night. 1 run will come in to score. They're going to send another one as well, and it's going to be a 2 RBI single for Josh Katz. As coming in to score is both Carson Berg and Adam Kunzvitsky, and Lane Tech now up to an 11-0 lead here in the 4th inning, and they're going to send their 12th batter to the plate this inning. Talk about Kat's stats line. He is now 3 for 3 with 3 singles, a walk, and 2 runs, and has a chance to make it even more runs, as it looks like they're going to use a courtesy runner for Cats, as Jack Pelican's going to come in to run. And it'll be Pelican at first base, making his first appearance in the game tonight. Tim and Katz have been battling for that center field role this season. And Louis Darashin, who had the highlight of the game so far, a home run 330 feet or so to right field, coming to the plate. You could tell McPeak looked up, turned around, and then realized he had no chance of that ball hit by Darashin. And we'll see if he can do it again. Runners on the corners. An 11-0 lead for the champions. They put on 8 runs this inning. First pitch, curveball misses outside. We'll go to a 1-0. Still just 1 away. That leadoff fly out by Greco. Since then, Lane Tech has had 10 straight guys reach in what I think we can easily say has been their best home inning this season. Got to imagine some frustrations out of after last night's loss to Kenwood, a game that Lane Tech really had and probably should have won, and they've just been taking it out on this Lincoln Park team. When you lose a game like that, you probably do not want to be the opponent next up for Lane Tech. You see this a lot in all the years I've called games for this squad. Sometimes there'll be a not great loss, and then they'll respond very well the next game or 2 games later. And that's what we've seen here tonight for the champions. As runners take their leads, the 2-0 inside, and that will be 3 straight. Oh, no, that was a 3-0. So that will be a 4th straight ball thrown to Darashin. And it'll be bases loaded again now for the champions, with the bases loaded for Henry Murray, who bats from the lefty spot now. He batted the first few times from the righty spot, going against a lefty, and now facing off against a righty pitcher will go as a lefty, as this first pitch curves in for a strike. First lefty that Mellis has to hit against. Very interesting. Lane Tech going with only 1 lefty in the batting lineup these days, with Borgren in at first base. As one of the Lane Tech coaches made a nice grab over there at first base, but it will be a strike on Murray. Trying to stay alive here in the 4th. It's Greco at 3rd, Katz at 2nd, Darashin at 1st. As Murray readies for the pitch, just one sliced high into the Lane Tech bullpen, and we'll move to an 0-2 count. Murray today has also had a nice little stat line. Had an RBI his first time up, was a ground out, then flew out his second time, but now a triple this inning came around to score. We'll see if he can do it again. 0-2. Offering misses outside, and we'll move it to a 1-2 count. 7:52 local time here in Chicago, moving on the 3.5-hour mark of this game, with a big asterisk on that, being there was a 90-plus minute rain delay. As swing and a miss there on the strike 3. Fastball dialed up by Mellis, and we'll go to a 2 outs here finally. Lane Tech gets their first out after 11 batters reached in a row, as we're going to see Zach Joshua. This might be a pinch hitter actually coming into the game. Yes, it will be, in the form of number to Elias Padilla. So he makes one of his first varsity at-bats of the year. First pitch gets in there for a strike. Lane Tech still has the bases loaded. Padilla seen a little bit of playing time in double headers, has not had a lot of varsity at-bats, but Lane Tech's going to give some other guys some playing time with such a big lead. As second pitch gets in there for a strike as well. The junior catcher has pretty much been the number 2 catcher this year behind Joshua, but Joshua's pretty much had the endurance to pitch every single day, so it's not been much of a need for Padilla yet, but he's had some bullpen catching experience, and we'll see if they actually put him in as a as a player in the top half of the 5th. Jack Serwayne in the on-deck circle. He's also going to come up to hit as back-to-back balls moves us to a 2-2 count. So Lane Tech experimenting with a couple of different lineups. We'll check quickly to see the last time Lane Tech had such a big win over Lincoln Park if the score stays like this, as Padilla battles this one off and will move to a 2-2. We mentioned last year they had a 7-0 win, but I'm not sure the last time we saw a double-digit win for the champions over this Lions squad. We mentioned Lincoln Park had gotten kind of closer and closer to competing with Lane Tech these last couple of years. Just not the case tonight, as Padilla fouls back another one and will move to a 2-2. The junior battling well in one of his first varsity plate appearances in a game that counts, at least you could say. He's playing some double headers in Florida, but some of the first conference action of Padilla's career. Obviously, he's hoping next year he'll be in that starting catching role after Joshua graduates, as the 2-2. The 3-2, high for a ball, and a run will be walked in, as safely coming in to score will be Teo Greco, and Jack Sir coming up to bat here for the champions. So it'll be very interesting to see what Lane Tech does defensively. Jack Pelican moves to third base, Louis Darish into second, Padilla now at first. And looks like there's going to be a courtesy runner in the form of Andrew Contreras, who comes in for Padilla. So short little outing there for the pinch hitter, but does what he needs to do. Patient at the plate. Fell behind 1-2 early on, but battles back for the walk. And now we'll see what Jack Sir can do. Lane Tech leading 12-0 here. 9 runs put across the plate here in the 4th inning. That going, I want to say like half an hour now. I think we started this inning around 7:30. As first pitch misses down low, we'll go to a 1-0 count. I think this is one of the best performances Lane Tech has had, just watching the ball and deciding when to swing and not this season. I've been impressed against Mellis, against Kozlowski. They've taken a lot of balls that have been close pitches here. Read the strike zone well, as the 1-0 gets in there for a strike. We'll even it out at a 1-1 count. Jack Sir, the everyday first baseman to start off the season. They've been experimenting a little bit with Ethan Borgren these last couple of weeks. We did see Jack Sir come in last night in the top of the 7th as Borgren came in to pitch. So Sir had 1 inning defensively as he watches the 1-2 go by. And Mellis 1 strike away from getting out of this nightmare inning. We'll see if he can do it. Pitch. Close take inside. Risky take there by Jack Sir, but it will fall for a ball, so we'll even it out at 2-2. It's runners on all 3 bases once again for the champions after that last runner got walked in, and Jack Sir will move it from a 1-2 to a 3-2. Once again, lots of patience here from the champions. We saw Padilla draw the walk, and we'll see if Jack Sir can do the same. Sir's been one of the most consistent fielders this year. Actually leads the team in fielding percentage, .989 over there at first base. Runners are off, and this one goes for a walk. Back-to-back walks here as Tyler Trapp comes to the plate. We're running out of room on our scorecard here. As Lane Tech has almost gone through the order twice. 2 away. Now a 13-0 lead as the pinch runner Jack Pelican comes in to score, and Tyler Trapp will come up to bat. Had a triple earlier this inning. Would love to do it again. Some scenic lightning there by the Chicago skyline. Not sure how much our camera can pick up of that, but as long as it's not hitting the field, kind of a pretty sight overlooking this beautiful field at Kerrywood Field. As the 0-1 down low, and we'll move it to a 1-1 count. Lane Tech 13-0 lead over the Lincoln Park Lions here in the bottom of the fourth. Right now it is Ethan Borgren at first. Excuse me, now there's a pinch runner there, as this is going to be a wild pitch. We'll go for a ball. Runners are going to hold. Excuse me, it's going to be Jack Sir at first base. The pinch runner, Andrew Contreras, at second, and Louis Derishin over there at third. Lane Tech has put now 10 runs across the plate in the third. This might be their first double-digit inning of the year, as Trapp pieces this one foul. We'll go to a 2-2. Sure, Tyler Trapp was very happy to have that triple earlier in the game. Had a couple of games the last couple of weeks where he was hitting the ball hard, but just seemed to always land in the defender's gloves. Had one hit against Kenwood, one against Mundelein, but to get a triple like that can definitely help someone's momentum, as that's going to be a swing and a miss for a strike three, and the inning comes to a close. But quite an inning there for the champions. They put 10 across the board and now lead 13-0 as we head to the top of the fifth. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Baseball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. We head to the top of the fifth inning. Lane Tech with one of their best innings of the year. They played 10 in the bottom of the fourth, and they lead 13-0 as Aiden Bozak enters his second inning of work. He'll do so with a slightly different defensive alignment. We'll run through them all because there's been a couple changes. Catching now for the champions is going to be Elias Padilla. That's actually the first time this year we've seen Lane Tech switch catchers mid-game, I believe. So Padilla comes behind home plate. Jack Serb replaces Ethan Borgren at first. Middle infield and left side of the infield stays the same. Derishin at third, Kunzvitsky at short, Greco at second. And then in the outfield, the one change, Jack Pelican replaces Josh Katz in center field. As first pitch hit high towards right field, Berg gets under it quickly for an out number one, and that is a fly out to start off the inning for the 9-hitter, Noe Luvano, excuse me. So an F9 to get things going here. We should note if Lane Tech can get 2 more outs without giving up 3 runs, and I hesitate to say this as an announcer's jinx, but it will be a run rule victory here for the champions. 3 out, 3.5 hours later. As first pitch misses high and outside. It's top the lineup now for Bozak to face Liam Fitzgerald up to bat currently for the Lions with Elias Alexander on deck and Gavin McPeak in the hole as this one fouled off, and we'll go to a 1-1, one away here in the top of the fifth. Thanks for joining us, Alex Burstein, on the call here from Kerrywood Field. Dark skies here in Roscoe Village on a weird weather night in Chicago. Weird baseball night, too. 13-0, quite a lopsided victory here for, looking like going to be a victory here for the champions. As this one swung on and missed on the pitch to Fitzgerald, and Bozak one strike away from getting his first strikeout of the outing. He came in after 3 nice innings from Aman Khan. 13 wins that Lane Tech has against, as this one swung on and missed for a strike 3, but as we were saying, 13 wins that Lane Tech has against Lincoln Park since 2007 is actually the 7th most Lane Tech has against any team in that span. Only beating them is Clemente, Lakeview, Northside, Vaughn, Payton, and Taft. However, it's the most wins Lane Tech has a team without losing a game in that time span. As first pitch misses outside. Meanwhile, Lincoln Park's 0-13 record versus Lane Tech in that time is the worst of any opponent that Lincoln Park has had, as this one fouled down the third base line for a strike 2, and Bozak now with 0-2 count in the top of the 5th inning, and we'll see if he can get the big strike 3. Gavin McPeak waits on deck. On the day, Elias Alexander 0 for 2, as this one gets away from Padilla. And we'll move it to a 1-2 count. Bozak's been good in relief here. Lane Tech always looking to see who can be a reliever they can possibly use in postseason and important matches, and Bozak showing he might be that here. As the 1-2 misses inside, we'll even it out at a 2-2 count. We were also going to look the last time Lane Tech had a double-digit win, and that will come all the way back in 2019, 17-3 win over Lincoln Park, as 3 straight balls here from Bozak. Oh, excuse me, no, that was a 4 straight ball. So that will be a walk here, and Lincoln Park has a runner aboard here in the top of the 5th inning, and Gavin McPeak will look to keep the inning going. He's yet to get a hit. I'm not sure if he's made contact with the ball. Struck out in the 1st inning, walked in the 3rd inning. Has a very, very intimidating presence there in the lefty's batter's box. He comes in with a very good pitcher's stature. He's listed on Twitter. I'm trying to bring this up real quickly as 6'5", 195. So he'll get rung out on a strike here. We mentioned committed to play at Dominican University next year, but did not get to see him pitch here tonight. Instead was in right field and had a couple balls just blasted over his head as this one fouled back, and we'll move to a 2-strike count once again on the possible 3rd out for the Lions here in the 5th inning. On deck waiting is Ike Darishin, Louis Darishin's brother. As runner takes towards second, it's a curveball. Padilla thinks about throwing down, does not. And instead it will be runner in scoring position for the Lions, who are still looking for their first run of the day. 2-2. Foul back, we'll do it again. The bright lights here at Kerrywood Field taking full effect for the 2nd game in a row. I think they may have canceled the 2nd game here tonight, which is supposed to be played between St. Patrick and another school, as curveball misses down low, and we'll move to a 3-2 count. But there was St. Patrick's team here, and now they're not here, so unless they're practicing, looks like this is just going to be a 1-game night at Kerrywood Field. Thanks to the weather, As the 3-2 hit down the first base line past Jack Sir, and Lincoln Park will score their, they're not going to score a run here, but they will get their first hit of the day. Lane Tech was really close there to having a no-hitter. It was kind of a weird one. They had some guys reach via fielder's choice, some guys reach via errors, whatnot, but there had not been a recorded hit, I don't believe, if my scorecard's correct. But Gavin McPeak will break that up, and it'll be runners on the corners with 2 away now in the top of inning number 5. And Ike Darashin, who's 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts, looking to make that 0 for 3, hits it to his brother, and Louis Darashin will get the 5-3 put out to end the game. A run rule victory for the champions. They beat the Lincoln Park Lions 13-3 off of a 10-run 4th inning. This one got delayed by 90 minutes in the middle of the 3rd due to lightning and rain in the area, but Lane Tech's bats wake up. The highlight of the day, a 2-run homer by Louis Darashin over the fence here at Kerrywood Field, over that right field fence, went about 330, 340 if we saw it correctly, but a very good night for the champions offense, and they'll look to do it again tomorrow night against Lincoln Park at 4:30 over at Lincoln Parks Field. 3 straight road games for the champions. They also travel to play St. Viator on Saturday and Whitney Young on Friday. We'll be back on the air at 4:25 for our pregame show of the Whitney Young game coming up next Monday. That's just about all the time we have here tonight, though. Great pitching from Amon Khan and Aiden Bozak. The offense speaks for itself. All 9 guys reach here tonight, and actually all 9 guys score here tonight for the champions. At least the 1 through 9 batting spots did. So very impressive night for the champions. They escaped with a big win here to stay atop the Jackie Robinson North Conference standings. That's just about all we have. Your final score from Kerrywood Field. It's the Lane Tech champions 13, the Lincoln Park Lions 0. My name is Alex Burstein. Good night.